celebration 2022. We're very excited to have JD Sweet, TC Curry, Akuyea, Karen Vargas, and Robert S. Boddie Jr., founders, Boddie Jr., founders, originators, pioneers, trailblazers. So many words, I'm going to run out of them. But we wanted to talk with them a little bit today and just get some more insight on Juneteenth, what moves, motivates them, and just what's on their heart. So welcome, everyone. How are you doing today?
Fine.
Doing good.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So if you just grab the mic and just kind of pass it off there. This is just a conversation. Just wanted to, you guys were in another room talking a little bit. Were you reflecting on, the 20 years? This is 20 years.
Well, basically, how we started, where we're at now today, being an historical moment for Kitsap County. These are my brothers and my sister and stuff, and we've been on a journey. We've been on a journey. So we've done a lot of things in this community where it comes to doing things in the churches, with the chief of police, with the courts, with the schools. But Juneteenth was something that was on my heart and my mind. Brought it to the CLCA, Community Leadership Coalition and Alliance. And it was just something that we wanted to do. We just gelled and did our thing. And, Karen has always been a big part. And, her group and organization is a part of what's going on now today. So I'm going to pass it on to Karen.
Well, one of the things that I could say is the journey really didn't just start with Juneteenth. A lot of this journey started with the work that Robert was doing and TC, as well as JD Sweet in the community. And it kind of was birthed through that process. But the journey started with all of these pioneers working throughout the community, within the school districts and within our community and different organizations, to be able to really meet the needs of our students, work with our parents, and work within our community to make our community a better place. And so, when we talk about the journey began, this is a product of the journey, but the journey began with all of the work that each of us were doing within the community and within the schools with our families.
Thank you, TC Curry. I just want to say that I'm just proud to be a part of the CLCA. I'm proud to be a community activist as a whole. But I think the proudest moment for me, looking back, I'm very proud to be a part of a team that put Juneteenth together. But as Karen alluded to earlier, it's the work that we did in the community that maybe a lot of people were not aware of what we did. For instance, myself, Robert Boddie, we mentored in the school district every week, never miss a week. We never called in sick. The kids were waiting on us to be there. We related to them. We tackled peer pressure, gang affiliation, drug and alcohol issues, anything that was going on in the home that they maybe didn't want to talk about, and they maybe discuss it with us. But I think the other thing that I'm proud of also is the work that we did in the school district as a whole. Being a mentor means a lot to a lot of kids who didn't have a role model. So what I did personally, along with Robert and Karen, I put together a cultural awareness class. I took the students from the school, along with Robert, to Purdy, women prison, and Monroe, men prison. And we did field trips. And we did this every year to educate them, to let them know that we don't want them there. And being the first African-American male probation officer at juvenile department that has ever existed. Kitsap County has been around for many years, and I'm the only probation officer that has ever had the title. And I'm very proud of that. But again, I'm very proud to work in the community with Robert, with JD, with Karen. But I also want to mention two individuals that are not here, and I want to give them their props as well. And that will be Pastor Rochelle, who's not here, and as well as Mike Nicosi. So I'm going to give this to JD at this point to elaborate more.
Thank you. I think for me, bringing it full circle, earlier I talked about Juneteenth being a celebration, but also I want people to understand the original impetus for the CLCA was an incident that happened at the Kitsap Mall where two young African-American students from Central Kitsap High School, one of them a student in my class, had just been kicked out of the mall because a white woman saw what she thought was a drug deal taking place between them two. And I just happened to be in Silverdale, ran into the young brother right when he had just gotten booted out of the mall by the manager and mall security. And he told me his story, and I was like, this ain't right. And I went to the mall, tried to meet with the manager, didn't want to meet with me. In the meantime, I went with another white colleague of mine, a teacher, to meet with the manager. But in the meantime, I had contacted Robert Boddie and said, enough is enough. We got to do something about this. And that was the very beginning of Robert and I thinking about, okay, who can we get involved? At the same time, I'm trying to set up a meeting with the manager. And honestly, he was ready to meet. But then when he heard Robert Boddie, T.C. Curry, Mike and Cozy, and Pastor Rochelle, and did his own research and realized these brothers are pretty serious, he shut the meeting down. We never had that meeting. I think if you guys remember that, we never met with the mall. But that incident was the start of us meeting on a regular basis and thinking about what are the injustices that are occurring in this community? What can we do to be an advocate for individuals that don't feel like they have a voice? I was lucky. Maybe God put me in the right spot to be where I was when that young man, frustrated as he was, ran into me in Silverdale and told me his story, and then I could run with it. Make a long story short, we were able to prevent that young man and his friend from being banned from the mall for a year. I think that's what the penalty was at that time, and got that squared away. But it started us moving in a lot of ways, like TC and Robert and Karen talked about, all these other things that we did in the journey that culminated in reviving Juneteenth and then making it the celebration that it is. So I just wanted people to understand it initially started out of, okay, we got to go get somebody because we don't like the way our kids are being treated. And that was just one singular incident in lots of incidents that we all had been dealing with. But we decided that we could come together effectively. And we had Robert with his organization Power, TC in the juvenile system, Pastor Rochelle, Mike and Cozy on the legal side. Robert had already done a lot of work in the courts and working with the prosecutor. And then I was working on the education side. So we had a good balance of talent and expertise, I think, that made us very effective as a group. So
I like to add one thing about Juneteenth as a whole. Being that this is the 20th year, and I'm very appreciative that the Bremerton Housing Authority has come forth for the second year, and they're going to fund the food that is supplied at the event. But I want people to be aware that 20 years ago, the funding came out of our pocket. Yeah. We pay for this. And we had no idea who would show up at this event. We bought the same food then that we have now. So basically, we didn't know if we were getting maybe 1, 2, 3, 400 people. And when we ran out of food, we went in our pockets. We went back to the store to buy food and drinks and chips to support Juneteenth. So I guess what I'm saying is I appreciate Bremerton Housing Authority for supporting this event. But I think what I really want to say is we've come a long way, and I just wanted to keep it going.
All right. Part of CLCA, the co-founders, Mikey Kosi, attorney at law, only Black attorney that was in Kitsap County as far as male. Had 2 females at the time. Also, Pastor Sam Rochelle, emeritus, the oldest living pastor, right now in Kitsap County. When we talk about T.C. Curry, the only probation officer. Then we talk about a J.D. Sweet, 40 plus years, CK School District. Second Black male to ever come through CK School District. And he was recruited back in the 70s when we didn't have Black teachers in Kitsap County. Now, a lot of things that the CLCA has done is that we picketed and boycotted the Bremerton School District for calling our kids porch monkeys, calling them out their names, some of the teachers. We also boycotted and picketed the Bremerton Sun at that time, when they didn't support affirmative action, I-200 and stuff. Also, we did a lot of things in the community when it came to mediation, when it came to mentoring, when it came to appeals, when it came to mentoring and doing different things in the community and stuff, especially with the court. We started with Russ Hauge, longest tenured prosecutor in Kitsap County and stuff. So we dealt with them getting our kids diversion and stuff, outside of getting deferred prosecution in the court system. We also did a big thing where we went to the Red Apple, and Gar Jules used to support us as CLCA, giving Thanksgiving dinners to families. And one of the first families we gave dinners to was Pastor Floyd Houston's family, his mother, grandmother, them when they lost their home and stuff, and then we did other community things with giving other people Thanksgiving dinners, did Christmas stuff. So as far as the CLCA is, we're very active in the community doing and giving back. It's not a I and a me, it's a we and a us. It took all of us in this community, and we have to support the people that came down, and the CJ Joneses and them and the Marks and stuff that came down, and Paul's no longer with us. He was one of our first cooks and stuff that used to come down, volunteered his time. So it's about giving back, volunteering your time. And like I said, I appreciate, this as a family, because we all have different backgrounds, but we all have the experiences, and we're all very unique in our own way.
So I wanted to ask a question. As you talked, you spoke about coming from different backgrounds, which is really important. And capturing our contemporary history is paramount, not only to preserve the history, but for folks that are my age, for my children, or my children's children here in this community. Mentorship is also very important. And what I see is 5 African-American Black men that saw a problem, started a thing. 20 years later, here you sit and you watch this thing grow. And I'm sure you don't agree on everything, you don't see everything quite the same way. But in 2022, I think there's an issue with Black men really as a collective standing up and being present and being accounted for and being able to work together as the 5 of you have. If you could you just share some insight or some thoughts on what it is that we can do to emulate you and to go forward and put our own egos aside and do the things that you have done? Because I think that's kind of lacking right now.
I'll let JD start that.
Yeah, as an educator, over the years, I've seen lots of African-American students come through the schools. And there are many that are on their job, off to school, college, trade school, military. But there are many others who don't take their education seriously. And that just breaks my heart, because historically we know W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, all of them were all active. Malcolm X, education was the key. And so I think in terms of what could be done, we have to go back to the church with an attitude of a servant's heart, because that's what made the CLC what it was. We did have diverse backgrounds, but we all wanted to serve, but we all wanted to be activists. We were sick and tired of seeing stuff. So there's got to be a righteous anger that people are tired of seeing what's going on, and you only have 2 paths. You can complain and be negative and vulgar and foul mouth, or you can say, no, we've got to speak up and then bring something to the table. You got to have a plan. And so for us, I think what I would say is have a servant's heart and have a vision of how to make things better. I would love to see more African-American males really take the leadership in a lot of our communities. And in this community, a lot of the females are stepping up and doing all kinds of things. And I just wish a lot of more brothers would be more active, more collaborative, as opposed to the ego, like you just said, and just say we can work together. Because I'm wondering, where are the Black parents and the advocates in the schools? Where are they? You know, all these other groups show up at board meetings yelling about the robotics program being shut down, the athletic directors being released and let go. But I have yet to see an organized group of African-American parents come to the school board and say, why are our kids being called the N-word? What are you doing about that? Why do we have certain teachers that are insensitive to kids that everyone knows about year after year and nothing's being done? I would love to see parents really be active and advocate for their kids. We've done it. Karen's done it. We've all done it. Continue to do it. But we need to have a community. Back in the day, and you all know this, the Black community they only had each other. So they rallied around anybody that needed support and was right there. But now we've kind of lost that spirit. So I don't know how you get it back. I don't know if it's through the churches. I don't know if it's through young people like us or old people like us. But there's got to be a way to recapture that spirit. And really, honestly, for anyone that's listening to this, you have to dig deep inside your heart and say, if you have kids, how am I advocating for them? Am I checking their homework to see if they're doing it? Am I checking their grades? Am I getting on them and taking away that cell phone if I need to because they're getting an F in math? Come on, what's up with that? So that's what I would like to see. And I think that's the example of just stepping up and advocating for your kids, advocating for yourselves, and bringing something to the table to make things better. That's what we did. We were complaining about stuff. We were getting on the school districts. We were getting on the Kitsap Sun. We were getting on people, counselors in the schools. We wrote letters. We brought the superintendents together. But we also brought something to the table. We revitalized Juneteenth. We brought food to families when we could. We organized mentor programs. TC and Robert were in the schools doing all kinds of things. So it's not like we just complained and stuff. We wanted to lead by example. And the thing I like about Juneteenth 20 years later, some people picked it up. TC still plugged in on a lot of bases. I was early on working with vendors. It's bigger and better and continuing to grow. That's what we want to see. Now, if we can take that same spirit and get people get fired up to be in the schools and go to those school board meetings and say, this is what we want to see, that would be awesome. I know I'm rambling on, but I'm starting to preach, man. So yeah.
I wanna piggyback on what JD said. That's very important, and I'm just gonna hit it head on. In the past, I've attended many community meetings, and basically what it came down to is a lot of people in this room had a lot of good ideas, but what it came down to, there was no collaboration, none whatsoever. So I guess I'm gonna leave this with this thought to the community. Just don't talk about it, be about it, because you know it's great. It's awesome to have a good idea and what you think that could be prosperous to the community and helping others. But guess what? That's talk. We need to do it. So don't talk about it, be about it, and thank God for Juneteenth today.
All right, my motto is don't be a hater and stuff. We got too many haters out there and stuff, you know. It's like what I tell people is make your haters your elevators and rise to the top and stuff, because that's the only way you're going to get there and stuff, because you're always going to hear the negative and stuff. And as far as males go, like JD was saying, is we always see the females is they're always active and stuff. And you have to get on your kids and stop thinking that your child is the apple of your eye and stuff. You know what your kids do. You know when you hear that door in the morning or that window at night and stuff, you know, they creaking and sneaking And young males don't have males in their lives to be positive role models, because 70% of the males are either missing or they want to have all these different babies, mamas, and not be responsible. It's about responsibility and stuff. And other members of the CLCA, the Elizabeth Blandons, the Joan Furbys, the Harriet Bryants, the Adea Warlows, and the Carla Polilos, and the Bishop Robertsons and stuff, you know, they were always there, and they were active members, wanting to see things done and stuff, you know, go into the schools and stuff, ask questions. Stop sitting, you know, saying I sit on a board, I sit on a committee. Are you being active and stuff? You know, our thing is being active. My style is I'm aggressive, but not in the wrong way. You know, my label is I'm fair. I sit in on all the meetings. When superintendents, we had some meetings where they don't want individuals in the meeting. No, we're only going to meet with certain individuals. Well, I happen to be one of the individuals when it came to the superintendents and the schools and the courts and stuff, you know, and that's the same with JD and TC, and they get tired of hearing just from us. Where is everyone else? And, you know, so just do what you need to do. Be an active parent. Be involved in what your kids are doing. When you're going to go into the meeting and you want to call people racist and whatever and bigots and stuff, what I tell principals and superintendents, take that paper and slide it over. All them D's and F's, all them tardies, all them truancies. Check your child. You know, take a look at who, you know, this is what your child is doing, and take the focus off of the teachers and principals and put it back on your child.
This is wonderful conversation. I know that the question was to the brothers, but I want to talk to the brothers. I want to say to the brothers, you know, where there's unity, there's strength. And the brothers, y'all have to help strengthen our community, because y'all are the core of our families. And if the core is missing, we're in trouble. And so we've got to talk about that amongst ourselves, that the brothers, you know, I'm not here to put down none of my brothers, because my brothers, see these brothers here, these three brothers here have held me up over the years, have strengthened me, have come and supported me. I can pick up the phone. I can say, JD, I can pick up the phone. Robert, I can say, TC, and have no doubt what you need, and know that they got my back. But we should be able to say that to all our brothers when we in need of support and help, that I can pick up the phone and I can call any of my brothers, and my brothers say, what you need, I got your back. Yep. And so, you know, that's the core of unifying and strengthening our community. So if we're not talking about that, we you know, these young cats is looking at us. These young people, they're looking at us, and they're not seeing what they should be seeing. And what they should be seeing is how strong we are together.
And I just wanted to clarify, we're not, and Robert's the same way, we're not trying to say that all the parents are bad parents. Mm-hmm. What we're trying to say is we need their voice. And so what I would say is, if any parent in the school situation really feels like they need to have something to say, call me. I'll be at the meeting with you. I can help you navigate the system, because one thing educators do, we talk all that educational talk in a meeting and throw out all these acronyms and everything. And most parents are like, what you talking about? You know, we do it, and it's done intentionally to throw them off. So I can be there with you to say, hold up, we ain't going there. This parent has a legitimate question, and let's roll with it and do that type of thing. I know TC and Robert and Karen would be available for that same type of thing. So we need you. When I was in college, we had a situation where it wasn't safe on campus, and the Black Student Union got together and we said, okay, we need young men to volunteer, that if any sister needed to be escorted from the library back to her dorm, she could call any of these brothers on this list, and no matter what they were doing, they would drop it and go to meet her and walk her to her dorm, whether you knew her or not. Now, I was one of those brothers on the list, and occasionally my phone would ring and a voice would say, hey, I'm at Honnold Library, Claremont College is where I went to school, and I need to escort to my dorm in Pomona or Scripps. And I say, I'll be there in 5 minutes, just stay put. And that was just a way we did it. And the sisters felt so safe because they knew there was a group of brothers that they could call at any time, and we would be there just to walk them back to their dorm. And there was no craziness like, okay, I'll walk you back to the dorm. Now what? No. Thank you, sister. You're safe. I'll talk to you later. If you need support again, call me. That's what I want to see in this community. And I'm not going to get caught up in everybody knows the dramas that occur in the Black community. Everybody knows. Okay, fine. But we can, like Robert said, we could rise above that. And we should be in a community where any brother or sister can call any other brother and sister and not hear what's in it for me, but how can I help you? How can I help you? And that's what we need to have, because that's what will make the difference. And really, when our kids see that, when they see two brothers and sisters that sometimes disagree, but that can come together, that's modeling it. And since some of the people that are going to be hearing this are connected and plugged into the church, y'all know we're supposed to be the example. We're supposed to mimic the Savior. We're supposed to be representatives of what that spirit looks like. And so what better way than to walk the talk and then say to our young brothers and sisters, see how we do it? This is how you do it. The cussing and fussing, we all can do that. And sometimes we all get mad enough to do it. But sometimes you got to rise above that to make a difference. So I know I've been blabbing, but I've been at this district, Central Kitsap School District, since 1977. And I've seen all kinds of stuff. And I'm at the point in my career, I'm just tired of it, even more so now that I'm getting near the end. So there's an urgency for me to get people fired up and going to board meetings, talking to teachers, holding their kids accountable. Robert's right. It's hard to sit in a meeting when the kid's cutting up and skipping classes left and right. And the teacher may have messed up and done something, but the discussion is all about those D's and F's. And that makes it difficult. So parents, hold your kids accountable. Hold your kids accountable and use the support that's available to you in this community. We got you. I got you. Just call us and let's make things happen. Well, I almost want to say anything. Any other questions, man?
That sounds like a summit in the making, so I need to get to work on that. I want to thank all of you for your time coming and just sharing your thoughts. So important. I know when I was young, I hated history, hated listening to the stories. Now it's like I could just sit and listen. You could talk for hours, and I would sit here and
all right,
and
brother,
just soak
man,
it all
let's
up.
figure it out. That'd be good.
Can I say one last thing? Miss Karen, y'all need to give her props and her dues for Dr. MLK Street in Bainbridge, for down here in Bremerton, for all the work she does on the sideline, for all the countless times that she takes away from her home and her family and stuff. This is a champion, and she knows anytime that she calls me and stuff, this is my girl.
Yep.
And stuff. You know,
Yep.
Anybody that calls me, I got you.
Yep.
I got you. Trust me. They've never seen me turn down a call. And when they call me, action happens, not the next day, within the next hour or two.
That's right, because after they call Robert, he gets right on the phone calling me. Hey, sweet, what's going on over there in that business? And we start working, man. And so that's the way it's supposed to be. And we don't sit around and say, oh, it's this day, I'll get you on the weekend. We're right on it.
Akuyea, will you take us out with when and where this 20th anniversary of Juneteenth is going to take place?
Yes.